Hi, my name is Dr. Fab. I'm a philanthropist, a political activist, and I have been campaigning against Donald Trump's policies that have been totally rogue in his attempts to manage a crisis like COVID-19 that has yet to be proven as a natural occurrence, as an accident, as a coincidence. Reason being this, that there is a lot of, there's a lot of discrepancy between the facts and the objective data that we have and what the politicians and even what their bona fide medical experts are saying. Everything is changing every day. It is the highly contagious virus that seems to be mutating and that is actually affecting the healthcare workers as well. I've been doing a campaign against Donald Trump because I strongly feel that if it were Obama or even if it were Bill Clinton or any of the Democratic leaders in power, the COVID-19 outbreak would have never happened. And it's not because I like Obama or I like Clinton. I actually campaigned against Hillary Clinton in the last election a lot. I did not vote for her. I did not even vote for Trump. But it is primarily because I know this as a fact that Bill Clinton knew about the biological weapons project and program of Israel all the time. He's mentioned about it, that one of his biggest fears was the outbreak of a bioweapon, a biological weapon in the world that could destroy lives, that could kill people like it is right now. So Bill Clinton has expressed vocally to various interviewers about the risk of the world being pushed into one of the worst biological weapons and warfare crisis. Obama, throughout his presidency for 8 years, he was under a lot of pressure from the military-industrial complex, from the Israeli lobbies, from the deep state of US, to try to push for something on the same lines as what we are seeing today. But Obama politically, Obama diplomatically handled the entire situation. He also knew about the biological weaponizing powers of Israel that have remained ambiguous to date. If you have doubts about what I'm saying, read what Avner Cohen has written up in his report about the biological weaponizing ability of Israel. So Obama knew about this too, but he made sure that these weapons were never unleashed upon the world. The problem with Trump is the same as the problem with Bush. When 9/11 happened, Dick Cheney was there. He was the influencer. He was the main person who ran the entire show. He got Iraq invaded, and after 1 million people got killed in Iraq for no reason at all, just to profit the energy companies of Dick Cheney, Rupert Murdoch, and Jacob Rothschild. After 1 million people got massacred in Iraq for a war that shouldn't have happened, finally the Americans realized that they had been bluffed by their own politicians. So there's no respect amongst the American people for Bush anymore or Dick Cheney. If you have doubts about it, just watch the movie Vice. That has been one of the biggest Hollywood blockbuster. It will tell you a lot about what Bush and Dick Cheney did. So we are seeing the same kind of a situation right now. Trump is highly influenced by his son-in-law Kushner, who has worked since day one for Israel. And I'm even wondering if he married Ivanka so that he could influence her dad into doing what Israel wants. So my concern is that since day one, Trump has been doing nepotism and bringing his personal family forwards in major decisions of the nation, as a result of which we are seeing what we are seeing today. And this wouldn't have happened if Obama was in power, because he never ever promoted his family in political decision making and in decisions that are related to the national security of US. And now we are not just talking about the national security of US. We are talking about the national security of this world. So this is why I have launched this campaign against Trump, because of his foolishness. You can call it foolishness, you can call it criminal negligence, you can call it incompetence, but I think it is above that. It is a rogue policy to ignore what the experts are saying, what the intelligence agencies of US are saying that actually warned Trump about an upcoming pandemic emanating in the world. And he ignored those calls of his own intelligence officers and listened to Kushner, who misguided him and who told him it's not a big deal, it's just a hoax, don't worry about it. Why? Why do you think Kushner or anybody did that? Because they wanted the American people to have enough exposure to the virus to bring it to a level of an extreme pandemic where people are getting killed and massacred in the number of millions, which is what Dr. Fauci said yesterday. That now we are talking, we'll be lucky if there are 100,000 to 200,000 Americans who die from this pandemic. So this is where it's at. And he could have shut down US on the 1st of January. He waited for almost a month because he was too obsessed and busy in trying to stir up World War III with Iran. He attacked Soleimani on the 3rd of January. It took him almost a month to do anything tangible for this pandemic. And then he was never prepared. He never got the country prepared for it. And I think this is all deliberate. I've worked in US for 20 years as a hospitalist, and I take care of patients, critical care patients, all the time in the ICU. And I have never seen a situation where the healthcare workers have to use garbage, plastic bags as their protective gear, where they have to try to buy the masks themselves, where they have to reuse these very important masks that are their only line of defense against this virus. And now we are seeing that a lot of the doctors are getting sick, a lot of the nurses are getting sick. The nurses are actually dying. There's a nurse, Kelly, in New York who died from being exposed to COVID-19, and his death wouldn't have happened if the hospitals were well equipped to fight this pandemic. So I still believe that what we are doing right now is not enough, because if this is bioterrorism, which it is, because we still do not have a patient zero identified as yet, then the people who are involved in committing this bioterrorism, not just against the Americans, but against the rest of the world, they will continue to generate newer strains into the environment. It is so easy. If they have some kind of an active biological warfare equipped lab somewhere in the US, somewhere in Europe, somewhere in every nook and corner of the world, with its headquarters being in the Israeli Institute of Biological Research in Ness Ziona, then this war is not going to end. They're going to prolong this war like they prolonged the war against terrorism for 2 decades. That led to the death and the massacre of so many people all over the world, that even killed Americans, that even killed the American Marines. So we are in this together. We have to have a global response, and the most important thing is to confront politically, diplomatically, the biological weapons capability of Israel that's emanating out of this ambiguous and covert Israeli Institute of Biological Research. We have to shut it down. We have to shut down this project because that's the headquarters. And then we have to shut down the subsidiaries of this headquarters, not just in US, but all over the world, so that this massacre can stop. Because innocent civilians are dying. They're dying all over the world. They're not just dying in Europe. They're not just dying in China. They're not just dying in Asia. They're not just dying in Australia. They're dying in US. New York is like the epicenter of this virus. And if you look back, you will notice that if you look at the history, you will notice that in 2002, 1 year after 9/11, Stony Brook's institution in SUNY in New York, the scientists over there were able to synthetically make poliovirus. What I think is, and a year after that, SARS-CoV-1 came out, And then now we are seeing this SARS-CoV-2, which is what COVID-19 is, which is kind of a derivative of the CoV-1, and that came out 1 year after the polio virus was synthetically formed in New York. So you need to look into why New York is the den and the headquarters of this virus. There may be an active biologically equipped and empowered lab sitting in New York emanating various strains, and do not trust the CDC, do not trust the World Health Organization, do not trust anybody. Do an independent research yourself. Do an independent analysis of the strains of the viruses that are affecting the people in New York yourself. And you can objectively prove that this is not a pandemic, this is not natural, this is not a coincidence, this is not an accident, this is very much bioterrorism, and it can only be stopped if we unite, if we organize, and if we launch a global civil response done by the people of this world against those who want to control the entire world, who want to vanquish the civil liberties of 8 billion people of this world by putting them in an eternal shutdown and lockdown. We gotta act right now. We gotta act fast. The only way to stop this bioterrorism is by rooting it out at its epicenter, the labs from where it's coming. That's all I have to say. Bye.